I wanted to ask you, what were the main themes of the book that attracted you and wanted really to make you write it?
The key themes of this book, and of a number of my books, are first the process by which an intelligence officer recruits somebody from another culture to work for the United States, to share secrets with the United States, to become our agent. And that's what Roger Ferris is trying to do in the course of this movie. And then second, the way in which our intelligence service tries to deceive our adversaries by inserting bits of misinformation, by steering people, turning them. In the movie, Roger Ferris, played by DiCaprio, sets up the most elaborate deception of our adversary. And as often happens in real life, the deceiver ends up in ways that you just have to see in the movie and ends up being deceived. Those things, which are a part of how intelligence agencies operate, have fascinated me since I began writing about the CIA 30 years ago, and they really found fruition in this book.
So Body of Lies is a work of fiction, nevertheless it feels so real. How did you achieve that?
Well, I think if it feels real, it's because it's first drawn from real things. I did a lot of research for this book. I spent a lot of time in Jordan with senior officers of their intelligence service. I've spent, as I said a moment ago, I spent 30 years writing about the CIA, learning how it operates. You know, in the end, what makes a book feel real, what makes a movie feel real, is the characters. And the characters have a life of their own. You can do years of research, but unless you have a character that comes to life on the page, who seems real to you, who behaves like a real human being, whose reactions are human, like your own reactions, the book is going to be lifeless unless a movie director finds actors of the quality of DiCaprio and Crowe who can take the characters on the page in my book and the screenplay and then give them an extra dimension, light them up as people, so they're just as vivid to you as if they were on a marquee. It won't have life, and if it feels real, it's all of these different kinds of creative skills coming together.
That obviously seduced Ridley and Donald from the beginning. In fact, they actually decided to make the film even before your book was published, just by...
This was a sort of upside-down process. I had known Ridley and had worked with him on an earlier project. So when I finished work on this book, it was still just manuscript pages. It wasn't even bound. I sent it to Ridley. One of his top assistants, Michael Costigan, took it with him to the Sundance Film Festival. He called me from Sundance and said, basically, "You SOB, I haven't seen a single movie here at Sundance because I'm sitting in my room reading your book. It's great. We love it." And so they decided to buy it, and that actually was before the publisher for the book had been selected.
So let's talk a bit about your characters. You have Ferris, and obviously we can see there's a part of you and him, and then Hoffman, a name, by the way, that appears in all your novels.
Does. Every one of my novels has a character named Hoffman. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, the portrayal of Hoffman in this film by Russell Crowe is so powerful that forever after, I and everybody else is going to see the image of Russell Crowe whenever they read the word Hoffman. But these characters are drawn from life. I think it's fair to say that Roger Ferris, this young CIA officer who goes to the Middle East, wanting to be professional, wanting to keep his distance, wanting to be the tough guy that his boss Ed Hoffman wants him to be, finds that he is changed by his interaction with people, that he wants to treat them simply as means to an end, and he can't. He ends up dealing with them as other human beings, and I think that transformation that he goes through is the moral center of the movie, certainly the center of the book that I set out to write. I mean, a key to who Roger Ferris is in the book, he began life as a journalist, and he left the ill-paid profession of journalism to go work for the government as a CIA officer. I stayed as a journalist, but certainly a lot of me and my own emotions are in that character.
Were you surprised by Leo's performance and portrayal of Ferris?
He's such a good actor that he can do almost anything. What I found most interesting was his ability to take on the sort of the gray man aspect of a good intelligence officer. It's very hard for a movie star to be the person who's blending into the surroundings. But there's scenes in this movie where Leo is trying to be as invisible as he can, as an operative on the ground in this Arab world, speaking Arabic, dressing as people would in that part of the world, and I think he did that really in a superb way. And again, for a movie star to be believable as someone who can blend into the surroundings is pretty amazing.
And then you have the fascinating character, the head of the Jordanian intelligence, Hani, also very well portrayed by Strong.
I think Mark Strong, is just has a breakout performance here, and Hani is in truth my favorite character in the book. I think he sort of runs away with the book, and he's drawn from a number of models in real life in Jordan. What Mark Strong has done is create somebody who's elegant, who dominates almost every scene he's in by the force of his personality. I was also happy to see, because Hani in the book is a perfectly dressed man. He's a man who's always got a shine just so on his shoes, whose trousers break just enough over the tops of his shoelaces, and Hani, as played by Mark and as costumed, is just exquisitely well dressed and well mannered. So I loved that part.